G'day, welcome back to Wombat Workshop. I've got a project I need to do, well, I want to do, and that is repairing this dining room table. I'm then going to take it down to my brother. This table was inherited by us when my parents passed away, and so it's got a lot of history involved in it, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I don't know how old it is. I know that when I was a kid, I always remembered this table being here, so it's at least 50 years. I would be thinking that it's probably closer to 55 years, maybe picked up by my parents in the early to mid 60s or thereabouts. Not really sure. I also don't know what species of timber this table is. Judging by the weight of it and the behaviour and some of the grain pattern I see in it, it could be Tassie oak, but still no idea. I can't really ask the people who purchased it what kind of timber it was. I know it's definitely Bina. That's all I know. Now, the historical significance of this table is that my brother and I studied our HSC or final year exams on it. My wife and I used it to study for our university exams back in the mid-90s or thereabouts. And I believe I have vague memories of my mum writing her master's degree in science thesis at this table as well. So that's the academic part of the table, and my dog's just approached me and wants a pat, so I'm going to be patting my dog while talking to the camera. It's good, it works good for me. The other thing is that it has many wonderful family gatherings for Christmases, birthdays, Easter parties, New Year's Day, all of those things have been happening around this table. So it does have a very fond spot for both, very warm spot in my heart for both, well, for me particularly, and for my brother, and most likely some of my aunts and uncles as well. Okay, the issue that we have with it is that I will take a walk around and you'll see for yourself, but the tabletop is made out of 4 large clear boards, and the gaps between the 4 boards, the joins between the 4 boards are now grown so much that you can drive a truck through them. So that's what needs to be fixed. The requirements to do this is that I want to keep the actual finish and the historic patina on this table the way it is. So I need to find a way to leave what little finish or what little finish is on this table intact, and fix the gaps. Okay, we've got the tabletop in my workshop now. My wife and I wrestled it in here somehow. It's not the lightest thing I've encountered, and now I think it's time that we pull him to bits and see what kind of gruesome things are underneath it. Let's get to it. I'm really quite pleased. These are obviously they're flathead screws. Again, I said from the roughly the maybe mid 60s or earlier. I'm not entirely sure whether it's this is glued or what have you, but we'll find out soon enough. There seems also to be some threaded inserts that goes through some bolt holes into the dining room table base, but I've never actually encountered those bolts. They have they're long gone. I think these wood screws are going to be, yeah, I think they've reached the end of their life. And the way it's moving and behaving, it doesn't look as if this tabletop has been glued. So I might have been kissed on the cheek by the woodworking fairy here. Okay, you saw me disassemble the tabletop, and in the time lapse you'll have noticed that when I was removing the two cross pieces of this tabletop, all the boards released almost 55 years of pent up stresses, and that resulted in the boards just warping a little bit, cupping, bowing, just generally doing what timber does. And at this stage I could have machined everything square, machined everything true, and then I would have lost the historic patina that I want to keep, and my brother's dining room tabletop would then be about 12.7 millimeters, a half banana thick, and that's too thin for a dining table. So we're not going to do that. We're going to wrestle these boards square and flat using fasteners. Now, the dining room tabletop had very large gaps in there, and we want to close those gaps. It's the whole reason why we're doing this job. Now, the other issue with a dining room table with these kinds of boards is that it can move like that. It can move like that. It can also move back and forward like that, and also open gaps. So we need a way to solve all of those movement issues and keep everything rigid without gluing. So I'm going to use my old friend, the domino jointer. Now I'm going to use rather big tenons. These are 14 millimeters thick and 140 millimeters long. So they are going to be buried into this dining table to significant depths. Now, what these dominoes will do is it will prevent this kind of movement, this kind of movement, and that kind of movement. However, it won't prevent movement creating gaps. So we need another solution for that. Now, the wonderful boffins at Festool have invented just the thing for that. What we have is we have the Festool equivalent of a drawn mortise and tenon joint. And the way it works is this. I've fitted one in here. I will just show you how it behaves. What you have is you have your drawn dowel in there that will be inserted as a hole. There's our drilled mortise. You then put the dowel in. I'm trying to do it on camera like that, and then you tighten up. Excuse me, this is not the easiest doing it one-handed in front of a camera, but you'll just have to bear with me. Okay, an Allen key or a cap key, and start screwing or start tightening, and you can see this tenon is now drawn into the board, and this will hold these clamps nice and tight. Clamp these boards nice and tight. So we've got all of our solutions to preventing the timber from moving. So what we'll do now is I will measure and mark out where I need to drill my mortises and my drawn mortises, and we'll put this half of the dining room table together.